So, a few months ago, we made a video on this YouTube channel talking about the biggest wild card for the Vancouver Canucks, and that was an idea talking about Jonathan Lekkerimäki, and I thought it was an interesting video topic. Y'all seem to think so in the comment section as well, although I will acknowledge that the audience of that particular video probably is not the same audience that will be attending this video. Because instead of talking about Vancouver, we are going to be talking about the Montreal Canadiens, and the guy whom I'm going to talk about as the biggest wild card for the Habs. He also happens to be a player that I think we can dive into some expectations for, because a few days ago we also did make a video talking about expectations for the big man Juraj Slafkovsky. Without further ado, let's dive into some more expectations and talk about the biggest wild card for Montreal. I'm confident in my assessment here. It's Kirby Dach. This is a guy whom I'm seeing a lot of hype for from Montreal Canadiens fans, and for good reason. However, I honestly think that he might not be getting hyped up enough. And that's kind of crazy, right? Because Canadiens fans hype up everybody. Oh, Patrik Laine's coming to town? Fantastic, 50-goal scorer. Oh, Ivan Demidov was drafted? Fantastic, he'll be a Calder winner and an 80-point guy in his first season. Oh, Cole Caulfield is changing his number to 13? Incoming 90-point season. Obviously, I'm hyperbolizing here, but the point is Montreal Canadiens fans can, and usually do, overhype their guys. But for Kirby Dach, I honestly don't know if there's enough hype. Maybe I'm being hypocritical here. Oh, Lego, look at you feeding into this cycle of unrealistic hype for prospects and players by making a video like this. Yeah, it's all circumstantial at the end of the day. Because when it comes to Kirby Dach, this is a guy who, assuming he will be 100% healthy for the 2024-2025 season, we may have the potential to see a full-fledged butterfly unraveling himself from the cocoon after years and years of being bandaged up and wound up in that home. Dach is 23 years old, 6'4", 216 right-handed center, drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks in the 3rd overall spot in 2019. He was taken after Jack Hughes and Kaapo Kakko. If you needed a reminder of who went in that draft, his contract goes on till the end of 25-26, making $3.36 million a year. The thing with Kirby Dach, when he was initially a draft-eligible prospect, was that this guy had such a nimble, greatly refined combination of passing and finesse that had a lot of scouts and analysts saying that this guy was pretty much cut from the same cloth as a Ryan Getzlaf-like player. Big dude, center, defensively responsible, but also just a total playmaking beast. Dach in his draft-eligible season had 73 points in 62 games played as a big dude, 48 assists and 25 goals, and ever since he was drafted 3rd overall, which was seen as a shock by the way, it was kind of known at the time of the draft that Chicago was interested in a center, and a lot of people, myself included, thought that Chicago would be drafting Alex Turcotte 3rd overall. He was projected to being the 2nd best player on the NTDP behind Jack Hughes, and he happened to be from Chicago. So when Chicago passed on Turcotte to take Kirby Dach instead, it came to many people, myself included, as a big surprise. Turcotte then went 5th overall to the LA Kings, but that's a story for another day. Dach, in his first NHL season, was okay. He had 23 points in 64 games played, but 6 points in 9 games in the 2020 bubble playoffs. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. The Blackhawks were in the gosh darn playoffs in 2020. It was a weird system. There was a play-in round. They eliminated Edmonton. It was very strange. Like, imagine that, eh? 4 years later, the Edmonton Oilers would lose in the Stanley Cup final, and the Chicago Blackhawks would be a dumpster fire team, drafting 1st overall and 2nd overall in 2023 and 2024. That's besides the point, though. Kirby Dach was a part of that team that was still competitive in 2019-20, and then his career kind of took a turn because the next season he only had 18 games played. This is because, as the captain of Team Canada at the World Juniors, he got injured in the pre-tournament games, and the injury took him out until the end of the regular NHL season. Hence the 18 games played, and hence the 10 points. Now, the 10 points actually was an improvement, and as you saw Kirby Dach play more and more, there were more expectations being placed upon him. Okay, we recognize this guy was maybe supposed to be a 70, 80 point center as a ceiling in the NHL. He was young, he was a teenager, he was still coming back from injury, so he had time to get over it. The season after, though, he played a 70-game campaign, but he only had 26 points. It was a little bit of a decline, and this is sort of when you started to see the gears turning for a Kirby Dach trade. He inevitably got sent over to Montreal. He played 2 seasons, or barely even touched 2 seasons. He had 58 games played in his first year with the Habs, 38 points, which is great. 2 games played with the Habs in 23-24, 2 points, so literally a point per game guy. But really, I don't think Montreal Canadiens fans have seen nearly enough as to what Kirby Dach is actually capable of. This guy, if he gets full 82-game coverage in next season's worth of play, there's really no telling how good he can be. On a team like Montreal, where he'll be playing with a second overall sniper in Patty Laine, maybe playing with Alex Newhook as well, maybe he gets top power play minutes, who really knows? I mean, okay, if you think about the top line of the Canadiens, Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky probably taking the power play time, and then Laine and Matheson. Okay, maybe Dach is on the second unit, but still, there's a lot of opportunity here for a guy who is finally healthy, and hopefully in the best shape of his hockey playing career. Now that he's 23, he's got a little bit more experience as to learning what it takes to be an NHL athlete, and after having pretty much 2 seasons worth of time robbed from him due to injury, I can't think of any other NHL player who has more to prove and more on his shoulder, a bigger monkey on his back than Kirby Dach. This is a guy who, after displaying the talent at several points throughout his NHL career, was never able to hold on to that because he would get slowed down by injuries time in and time out. Now, for the Montreal Canadiens, I ask you, what are your expectations for this guy heading into the 2024-2025 season? The guy literally hasn't played a Canadiens hockey game in almost a year. He's had a ton of recovery time, he's had a ton of time to get in the gym, he's finally started skating with the Montreal Canadiens again, and with all eyes on Patty Laine, I think this gives a really good low-key opportunity for a guy like Kirby Dach to just kind of sneak around under our noses and show up when he shows up. If Kirby Dach starts out the 24-25 season with 25 points in 30 games, I honestly think that's a realistic, attainable goal for this guy, especially considering the company he'll be keeping on his line. If Patrik Laine shows up and he delivers, let's say, 35 to 40 goals, then there's no reason for Kirby Dach to not be attached to the hip at that. 2 big dudes, a playmaking center and a goal-scoring winger. I mean, it's a match made in heaven, and you add the hard work of a guy like Alex Newhook as the complementary forward to maybe pitch in, go into the boards, get the puck out, and maybe make some nice dangles along the way too. There could be some really great chemistry with this second line. And even if you take out Newhook, you put Anderson, for example, instead. Maybe he's the hard-nosed winger that drives to the goal, that digs the puck out of corners, and you have a really big line of Laine, Dach, and Anderson. Or if you wanted to put Slafkovsky on that right wing instead, move some guys around and have Suzuki and Caulfield together. That sounds like a really good combination too. Long story short, for Kirby Dach, I feel like the expectations for him could be all over the place. If you wanted to say, hey, if he scores 40 points in 82 games played, it's not surprising because he hasn't played in a year. Okay, I can actually understand that. I wouldn't be surprised if Dach came out there and was a little bit slow to get back up to speed, but at the same time, he's so talented and he had all these things going for him before his injury that if he goes out there and he gets maybe 70 points in a season, I wouldn't be surprised at that either. The range of possibility is so wide that I can't really pinpoint where my expectations are. I guess just to make things easy, I'll say, if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I'd say that we're talking about Dach. I'd say that Dach maybe gets 60 points on the season, assuming he plays 82 games. Can he get more than that? Absolutely. Can he get fewer than that? Absolutely. It's totally possible here. The realm of possibility is wide open, which is why I wanted to open the comment section up to you, because I want to hear what you think about Kirby Dach and his point production for 2024-2025. We had a really good discussion in the Yuri Slafkovsky expectations video, so we're carrying over, hopefully, a lot of that mojo into this one. Let me know your thoughts on Kirby Dach. How many points do you think he gets in 2024-2025? And bonus question, how many games does he get? If somebody I swear to gosh, if somebody predicts like he gets 7 games played and he only gets 7, knock on wood, he gets a lot more than that, then I'm gonna be pissed. But for now, thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.